Hello guys, and welcome back to another video in the shed. If you like my content, please consider liking, subscribing and sharing, as it all helps the channel grow. But on to the subject of what we're up to today, well, I'll show you. So guys, what we've done off camera is we've put all these flexible fuel return lines in, linking them up from one injector to the other. So we've just got the one return line to connect up. I've put all the solid fuel lines in. So all four of them, they all go to the back of the pump. They're in their correct location. And the ones on the back of the pump are tight. The ones on the injectors are only finger tight, because I'm going to have to crack them to bleed them so there's no air in the fuel line when it comes to the first startup. I have, however, also put the glow plugs in. I haven't put the wire across because I just haven't done that yet, sort of thing. And we're going to put this on today. What this is that goes here is a fuel filter assembly and thermostat assembly. So I don't currently have a brand new fuel filter, not too fussed, because once it is in the car in situ, I'm going to do fresh oil filter, fresh fuel filter, and we're going to completely do all new fluids. Everything is going to be all new fluids, because I haven't even got any old diesel, because I dropped the tank in one of my previous videos, so I still need to get some diesel as well. Let's get you on the tripod and we'll get started with what we're doing. Right, so guys, so where I said about doing a full service, I do, however, still have the old oil filter, and for now, just for transportation around to the car, so we don't get any sort of horrible stuff go into it, I'm literally just going to pop that on there. That will be getting replaced, so don't scream at me. It's just on there as a temporary aspect, so we don't get no dirt or crud or anything in there. That will be getting changed once the engine is in the vehicle. I promise you that, guys. So what we're going to do is, we've got this assembly. This is the thermostat, and it's also the fuel filter assembly. That does two purposes. Basically, that then goes through these three bolts here onto these three holes up the top here. And we do have a brand new gasket for that, guys. So the brand new gasket will go on there like so. 3 bolts to go in, 2 shorter ones and 1 longer one. The longer one goes through just there through the bottom and goes into the bottom hole. So what I've used here, guys, to tighten them up is 6mm Allen key hex bit, and that's all 3 of them now tight. There's this wire here which goes through on the pump, just through here like so, goes through another hole on the pump here, goes through the final bit, and then there's a little screw terminal on there. Just tighten it up against there nice and tight. Something will go on in here, and when it feels like it needs to, it'll pull on this cable, cause that to close up like so. There's obviously some sort of electrical connector there, but truth be told, I don't really know what it does. All I know is that's where it went, and I can't screw that up tight yet because I've temporarily misplaced the little fixing, which I will find and put back on, but I just can't show you doing that because I've got to find the little fixing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the fuel filter bowl on. I have, however, left the screw for that in there. There's a little locating lug on here which goes into a little hole up here. That just goes on there. Also, there is a rubber O-ring on here. You have to make sure that's on there. This is a brand new one. I've put a new one on there, and because if you don't, obviously it's going to leak like a sieve. So make sure you do that. Locate into the locating lug. This will be a 13mm. So that's that on there, 13mm. That just goes down the middle of the fuel filter bowl. You would put a paper fuel filter in there. Because I've binned the old filter, I'm just going to put the cap back on there for now without a filter in, because I'm going to have to take the cap off anyway to fill it up with diesel, because I like to fill these with diesel so the pump gets some diesel sort of straight away. So whenever I change the fuel filter, it's always advisable to fill the fuel filter up with diesel, just to make the pump not have to work quite so hard. So I will be filling it up with diesel when I put a new fuel filter on there. That just sits snug on there. For reference purposes, these Allen key heads on here are a 4mm piece to do them up. So guys, we've got this pipe to go on. That goes on just bit inside here. What I was saying about this pipe, it goes on to here and here. And let's just get a couple of clamps to do that with. So we've now got a couple of clamps on it, guys. And the plan now is literally just to push this into location there. Now we'll get these clamps moved round. I know there's a proper tool for this, but needle nose vice grips seem to do the job, so I'm using needle nose vice grips for the job. And that one done as well. Right, so guys, we've got this little pipe to go on. That goes on just here like so. So that's nicely clamped on there. And now what we have got to do is we've got to attach a pipe to this bottom one here, because that goes that way up. Bottom one here, and that pipe will go up the back here to the rocker cover on the top. That's that. Now we're going to tuck that up through there like so. What we've got done is we've got a normal Jubilee clamp style clamp on there. We've got that pipe down there done in the bottom of the oil filler neck. We've got the oil filler neck in place. We've got the pipe just underneath there is on, and it goes around here like so. We've got all this on. Like I said, there's no fuel filter in there. That's all attached. I've decided I'm going to put a Jubilee clamp on there like what's at the top, one of them screw thread type ones, but I haven't got one to put on there yet, so I'm going to go pick one up from the parts store probably tomorrow for that. And like I said, I'll put one like what I've got on here down at the bottom there. What we're going to do now is we're going to put the alternator on, the power steering pump on, the alternator tensioner and the alternator belt. So we've got literally these points here where we've got these screws to go through. I have however put old pieces of glove and some cable ties on here just to stop it leaking power steering fluid, because this is the power steering pump. And if we literally just put that in there loosely, we'll be able to slot that into that groove, and then we'll be able to put the other one through the back there like so. Basically guys, that slots into there like so. That slots into there and screws up behind there, and then we can do that one up at the bottom. This goes up into that bit there like so. That goes into there. Rotate that round so we can get this bolt into there like so. These are 6mm hex bolts. Behind here is a 13mm, and then behind the 13mm we've got a 13mm nut, which I'm just going to loosely put on by hand. Doesn't need to be tight, and the only reason I'm putting that on by hand is because that is where, when you put the power steering pipe onto here, there's a bracket that goes on there to hold the power steering pipe then in place. So guys, we're going to fit the alternator now, and the plan with that is it literally just goes into this bottom slot here, and if I just wedge that in there like so, we can put this long one through like so, and then if we then roll that back like that, this is actually threaded at the top. It's not threaded at the bottom, but it is threaded at the top. That can go through there. So wind that all the way through, nut on there as well. Right, got to get to where I can carry on now. Top bolt's nice and tight, bottom bolt's nice and tight. That's not going nowhere. And now we're going to put an alternator tensioner on. First thing we got to do is we'll get this little cap off in the centre, and we can pretty much do that just with needle nose pliers, he says. Yeah, just like that. This bolt goes in the bottom, and that's another 6mm hexagonal Allen key bit. So for now guys, I've wound that all the way in, because the way you do the tension is you wind it out to pull down on the tensioner to cause it to tension the belt up. So I've wound it all the way in nice and tight for now, and then we're going to put the tensioner on here and put 2 screws in those holes, through the holes on the actual pulley itself. Put this underneath the bottom here like so. That now goes in there just like so as well. That has just come out of line, but I'm not worried about that just yet. Now we can slot that across. This one goes in here just like so, and again we do this one up loosely for now, just so it will move freely up and down like so. And we're going to want that right up like so. Also guys, I'm reusing the old alternator belt. Now with this in mind, this alternator belt wasn't that old, as in it had only done probably about 500-600 miles, because I'd literally just replaced it before hydro locking my engine. And also, not only that, if this fails, it's not an absolute disaster. So I personally am completely happy with reusing old alternator belts, providing they're not completely gone. But as you can see there, there's not a mark on it. It's not starting to crack, it's not starting to warp. It's a little bit worn, but considering it rolls over this roller constantly at so many thousand RPM, you can kind of expect that. But I have no problems with reusing this alternator belt. It'll get replaced when it needs to, basically. So as we put that over the pulley there, put that over the pulley there, that will now tuck round like that. It's so much easier to do this out of the vehicle, I know that much. Last time I changed this, it was in the vehicle. And that will now slot down there. We'll just give that a push down just to take up the slack. And that's literally one alternator belt fitted nice and snugly so it won't go anywhere for now. And that's job done. No, I'm joking. Now what we need to do is we need to get that 6mm Allen key again onto the ratchet, wind it back in reverse, and this is literally how we tension this up. And if you see this, look, that's really quite loose. We've got to get that so it's a lot tighter than that, basically. But at the same time, we don't want to overstress it, because we'll put strain on the alternator. We ain't got to worry too much about strain on the camshaft, but the water pump and the alternator will take too much strain if we do it too tight. Nice and firm. You want that little bit of movement, because that way, if there's a little bit of movement, if you press it and it barely moves, you've done it too tight. But if you can get that firm feeling from it, that it's not going to go anywhere, but you've got like effectively about, say about 1 centimetre up, that would be perfect. I'm happy with that. And now all we do is we tighten up the other 2 bolts, but we don't want it in reverse, we want it on tighten mode. And then we literally, last piece to the puzzle on this, one alternator belt installed. I hope you enjoyed the content, guys. That's it from me today. Friday's video will be a wheel bearing install for my ZX. I've got 2 new wheel bearings, they'll go on, and we'll show you how I do that without any fancy presses and stuff, and wish me luck on that one. But if you would like to see what I get up to outside of YouTube, you can head over to my Instagram page. That's the ZX Guy, same as YouTube. But for now, guys, I will bid you farewell. I will leave another one of my amazing videos up in the top corner here. My subscribe icon will be here. Please consider subscribing as it helps the channel grow. Take care, guys. Bye for now.